Hello shape enthusiasts, welcome back to another episode in our MAM building series where we'll be trying to build a factory that takes in each shape and color and uses logic circuits to combine them, forming any random milestone shape the game can throw at us. Last episode, we redesigned our painting array to use the new feature of the 0.08 patch, which is the pipe gates, and our MAM is looking more compact than ever. This is everything we've built so far, so it takes in one of each of these four shapes, it picks the quarter based on what it needs over here in its shape selecting area, then it feeds those quarter shapes into a color picker which selects the correctly colored quarter for that shape. Then it feeds the output into this combinator which recombines the four quarters back into the final shape. At the end of the last episode after I posted, you guys told me I had one of my belts backwards, so let me just double check that in here. Yeah, we can see over here that this little input is backwards. Oh my god, that would have been a super annoying bug. Thank you so much for pointing that out, because oh my god, how would I even have found that without you guys? Because yeah, I have no idea. Let me do this all again. Why is this confused? Oh right, because the top layers are confused. Let me just get rid of those top layers. There we go. We'll copy all of that. I think that's fine. We'll copy all of that, then we will put it over here. Let's delete this, paste, flip, and put that back down. And that should be fine. All right, let's just double check all these inputs are arrowed in. 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4. Yep, that's all good, guys. How would I even have found that bug? Like one day when I'm painting cyan or when I'm painting green, one of these belts is just not going to be fully saturated, and I probably would have never figured out why. It would have been important to test each one of these colors if they were working, but for the sake of brevity, I think I'll just rely on you guys to capture all my bugs. So we're going to fix that on all four. I'll be right back while I do that. All right, excellent. I'm back. We fixed that issue. Let's get into what we're doing this episode. So now that we have a full shape, and why do I not have a full shape? This is combining, this is combining, this is bypassing, and this is bypassing. There's something wrong with my bypassing array. Why is it not combining these two into a full shape? I need to do some rotation here. Yeah, because the shapes combine based on left half and right half, and both these halves are coming out incorrect. What? These are just bypassing. Hold on. Something's wrong. Let me fix this bug. Someone goofed up here, and it's probably me. Why is this shape coming out like that? And where is it coming from? It's coming out the correct rotation. No, it's not. It's coming out from here, but I lost my rotator here, guys. When did that happen? That one should be rotating, so it's coming out there. It needs to rotate clockwise 90 degrees. The bugs, guys, the bugs are real. But that's the point of this series, guys. Honestly, I don't mind fixing and finding these bugs, because this is not a guide series on how to build a MAM the most efficient and perfect way possible. This is a journey of discovery. We're going to see how a normal person can try to figure out, using these logic circuits, how to get this all working. And then we can do some optimization later on. And this bug fixing and these errors, they're just part of the process. I'm not going to get everything right the first time around. I'm going to rely on you guys to help capture all my bugs, and I'm going to do as much as I can, right? So all good, guys, all good, all part of the process. All right, I think we're all good for now. That should eventually flush and now give us the correct shape. Then we can continue on. So what are we doing this episode? I think it is time, now that our MAM is able to produce single layered shapes, the next logical step is to copy our design and get it to do it 4 times for 4 layer shapes, and then figure out how to do all that stacking. But we're not quite done with the single layer shapes, because as you can see, a shape can have more than just colors and shapes. They can also have pins and crystals, and we haven't done anything for pins and crystals. So say, what if we had to make this shape, or the bottom layer of this shape? If I took the layer view out of this, the bottom of this shape is a star and 2 pins. How do we make star and 2 pins? So let's start with pinning before we get into crystallizing, right? Because pinning is probably the easier of the two, and they're kind of highly related in the sense that if you want to create space, like a crystal can fill space or pins. So I think pinning is definitely the natural first step to figure out before we get into crystallizing. Does that make sense to you guys? It makes sense to me. How do we do pinning? So I guess since each quarter can be a pin or a shape, there needs to be some sort of bypassing array of this whole painting sequence before it goes in here. Each one of these quarters can either be a shape or a pin, right? So there should be like some sort of pinning pin creator over here, and then each one of these, before they get into this combinator, can decide, am I a shape or am I a pin? So I suppose the natural first logical step to tackle this problem would be to create a device that can create pins isolated by themselves. And it's not super obvious how one might do that, right? If you think about it, let me build a new platform and let's do some theory work before we start, right? So say we have, let's just do this instead of with real shape. Let's try doing this with signals, because we can simulate all this happening, right? Without having to wait for real shape to do it. So say we have circles, CU, and that's a circle. And we pin it up, and I think in the new patch they added a wire for pinning things up in the simulator building. Simulated pin pusher, excellent. And then we put that through a simulated pin pusher. Then we've got a signal that represents a pinned up circle. I'm not sure you can see that here, but this is, yeah, definitely pinned up, right? Like we can make it more obvious by making a second layer of pins. So now we have a pinned up circle. But how do you get a layer of isolated pins? That doesn't make any sense, right? Because once that's pinned up, sure, you can like quarter, and we need it in quarters, guys, remember, because we need everything in quarters to reproduce everything. So sure, you can quarter cut this. So let's see, you can simulate cutter, half destroyer. Is there a simulated half destroyer? Simulated half destroyer, right? So you can half destroy that, and then you get half of that, and then I guess you can rotate it and half destroy it again, and then you get your quarter and you get your pins. But there's no way to get this top quarter away. I mean, you can pin it up like 3 more times and get rid of that shape, but then you have a layer of 4 pins together, right? And that's close to what we want, but we just want a singular pin. And it's not super obvious how to do that until you look at crystals. And this is why pinning and crystals are so heavily related. Because what crystals do, in fact, is when they get stacked or cut, they're fragile and they get destroyed. So what is the process we can use to get a single pin? Let's try to figure that out. So if we start off with a circle, we need to be able to somehow get a crystal layer and then somehow destroy that crystal layer. So I believe we need to get a crystal into a shape, we need space, right? So I guess the first step is going to be to cut that shape. So half destroying that shape. And that should get us a half destroyed half circle. And then that needs to run through some sort of crystallizer so we can fill that liquid in with crystals. So if we get our simulated crystal generator and then we feed it, is that a color and a thing somehow? A shape and a color. So if we feed it a color, say like whatever color, it's a case sensitive, we'll go color blue, right? And then we have a look at this output. That should have filled the blank gap now with color. Yeah, cool. So now we have our crystal layer in there. We can pin this up and now we have a pinned crystal shape. Oh wait, no, sorry. Before we pin that up, what we need to do is we need to get rid of, wait, no, we can pin it up first, right? Then we have a crystal layer with the pinned up bit. Then we can half destroy it again, but we need to rotate it twice to half destroy. And you guys have been talking about why am I using 2 rotators instead of like backward, and 3 rotators instead of backward rotation. That's because in the simulator building, you can only rotate in one direction. So if you want to rotate the other way, you have to rotate that direction 3 times. But anyway, so I need to rotate this twice because I want to destroy the non-crystal part of the shape. And I believe you can cut through, as long as you don't cut the actual crystal, you can get rid of the non-crystal part of the shape like this. So we need another half destroyer again over here after rotating, and that should give us only our pinned up crystal, right? Now we have our pinned up crystal. If you can see, there's like pins under here. Now, in theory, if we just cut this crystal, so we give that a 90-degree rotation, and then we half destroy it again, in theory, we should only be left with a quarter, a pin quarter. Look at that. 1/4 pin. That's exactly what we need. So we need to do this process, right, to get a belt full of quarter pins. And obviously in terms of throughput, we need 4 belts of quarter pins, because in theory an entire layer could just be pins, right? I don't think I have an example of that shape, but you can imagine like the middle, oh actually we do have an example of that shape. This middle layer is only 4 pins. So our MAM would have to basically go something like over, I think I'm going to intercept it over here and go, all right, this bottom quarter is a pin, this top quarter is a pin, this quarter is a pin, this quarter is a pin, and then it'll just piece together 4 pins, and that will be our layer. I think that makes sense. It makes sense to me. It probably isn't the best way to do it, but this is the way we're going to try and do it. And if we approach problems, we will resolve those problems one at a time. But so far in my head, this makes sense. So we have to create a real version of this signal chain that we did. So let's review really quickly. So we just have to get any shape, create a gap in that shape to have a half crystal. Then we got to pin that shape up with the half crystal, destroy the non-crystal component of it. Then we cut through the crystal and we should be left with a quarter of a pin. So let's build a factory that creates quarter pins. So it doesn't matter what shape I use, I just need 4 of them, right? Whatever I build, I need 4 of. So let me just go pick any shape area. Why don't we just go close to home? No, because the shapes here are way too small. Well, I suppose this factory doesn't need to be created near our MAM. We can create this factory anywhere, and then we can simply just belt over 4 full pins of shape. That 4 full pins will always be fully saturated because it'll always be constantly being created. And I found a little candidate over here when I was scrolling around, which is this, because it's already a half shape, so it'll save us 1 step. So let's go back to our basic factory designing process. So we get our shape out and then we need to crystallize it. Oh, and yeah, in this process, doesn't matter what color I crystallize it with. So I just need something like this over here, and we can bring in any belt of color. So let's bring in this belt of color, and then we will crystallize this thing. In my blueprint redesign series, I did build a brand new crystallizer, which I will be using. So in my BP redesign, it's basically the same as the old one. It's just, I just cleaned it up a little bit, that's all. So if we rotate that and we put that down here, bring our pipe in like that, and that should give us a fully crystallized output of this shape with crystals. I'm just got to figure out what rotation this does it in. So this crystal is going to fill the top layer, and if I want to, well, we pin it up first. Is that what we said we were going to do? We pin it up first. So we'll use our pin pusher that we built in our blueprint redesign series as well. So now we have a pinned up version of this shape with a crystal half. We need to rotate that this way, which is clockwise. And that should give us the ability to half destroy it. So in my blueprints, I do have a rotator that rotates things clockwise. Once that's rotated clockwise, then we need to get it through a half destroyer. Yes, we need to get through a half destroyer, and then this thing, I'm still waiting for the shape to come through, guys. This is embarrassing because why is my thing the wrong way? What? I believe it's not working just because there's no fluid belt, so I'm just going to wait for the fluid to come through because I've lost track of what the heck is going on here. All right, now we've got that coming out. We can see the crystal layer. Now it's coming out through here. So it's going through now with a pin. So that's the pinned version. Now it's going through our rotation. So that should give us, let me hide some of this. So now it's rotated. This thing should half destroy the non-crystal part of the shape, leaving us with only the crystal shape part of the shape. And now we just need to rotate any direction and then half destroy it again. So let's give that rotation. Any direction will do, counterclockwise, I guess. And then we can half destroy again. And that should leave us with a quarter pin. Is there a more effective way to make this and then we quarter split it? Is this the best way to make 4 pins? Because we have to do this a billion more times, right? Wouldn't it be more effective to make all 4 pins at the same time rather than repeat this process 4 times? I believe it would. Because at some point we have a half crystal shape, right? What if we fill in the rest of this with crystal and then we pin up the whole shape, and then we should be, and then if we shatter the crystal, we should be left with 4 pins. Isn't that smarter, guys? I think that's smarter. So let's get another belt of color. Can I fit it here? No. We need to bring another belt of color from somewhere. I might as well just bring it from here. So we'll bring in another 2 belts of color like this. They can all share off this thing. That is perfectly fine. Yeah, this will save us a lot more work, because if you think about the input, if you just duplicated what I did 4 times, you would need way more color, because you need to crystallize it 4 times, which will need double this. Yeah, this is definitely the smarter way to do it. So now we need to intercept this shape at some point. At what point? We need to intercept this shape here and then crystallize it again. That'll leave us with a full crystal layer, I believe. So if that's my shape input, we can do something like that to not confuse ourselves. I mean, that. Then I can belt in this shape like that. And then this belt should, in theory, have 2 more reds worth of crystallizing fluid. And now this should be a full crystallized shape, right? Wait, no, I don't want to pin up first then in that case. This is the pinning thing. I don't want to pin the shape up. I just want the shape to come out. So it'll be a flat crystal on the floor, which will then get crystallized again. Because if I pin it up first, then crystallize, I'm not even sure what the heck I'm going to end up getting. So we definitely want that. So that should give us a full flat crystal shape. Let me just double check. I mean, yeah, see, look, once we crystallize that, we've got this weird double layer of crystals. I suppose it doesn't matter because we can pin up whatever the heck this is. And then once we cut through the crystal, everything will shatter, right? So in theory, once I bring my pin up device, pin push up, we can pin push that up, then we can just cut through this in any way, because I believe when you cut a crystal, every single connected crystal breaks all at the same time. So we're not using a half destroyer anymore. We need a cutting 1 to 2 platform. Can I just cut this directly into quarters? Can we just get our quarter cutter from, well, didn't we have a quarter cutter in our blueprint design series? I mean, not blueprint design, in our MAM design series, in the very first step, full to 4 quadrants. Is that not what we want? And then does that not just give us the pins that we need? It'll be interesting to see what happens when it goes through this. Boom, look at that. Rotate. Boom, 4 quarters of pins coming out right at you guys. Look at that. That's exactly what we wanted, and we got 4 outputs worth of those. I'm going to let that saturate to make sure I have 4 full output belts of pins. Alright guys, we're back. Let's take a look. 1 full, 2 full, 3 full. Oh, this one is a full. I believe that is full. I saw a little gap, but I think that's fine. And 4 full. That works, guys. We got 4 full belts of pins, which we're going to need to intercept with some logic over here before we combinate everything. So I'm going to bring those belts over. You guys don't need to see this. Alright guys, we're back. I've got my pin belts coming in. While we're waiting for that, we need a shape to test it on. And I believe the best shape we can use is this shape over here. So let's see if it can do the bottom layer of this shape. Copy the shape code. And then we will, remember we built this little overwrite device for testing because nothing in our current 2 milestone shapes allows us to test pinning. So we built this little override circuit that lets you toggle between the current active shape and any shape that I configure. So I can configure that shape, and it should always take the bottom layer, and the bottom layer, look, let's just make it even more super obvious by removing the other layers and just taking the bottom layer. So the bottom layer is 2 stars and 2 pins. Let's see if my MAM can produce that shape. I just changed it now, so it'll take, according to you guys, 20 minutes for everything to flush out of my MAM and start producing the new shape I just changed. But while that's doing that, we can figure out how it will work with this. So the brain here is just combining whatever it gives, right? So I need these 4 to then change into the orientation of these 4 belts, if that makes sense. So at the moment, I think they're all coming out the same, but one of them needs to be top right. One of them needs to be rotated. I think I'll do it in the same order as I do these 4, which is top right, top left. All right, it's going in a counterclockwise direction. So to get from top right to top left, I need to rotate 90 degrees counterclockwise. And then I need to rotate 180 degrees. And then I need to rotate 90 degrees clockwise. I believe that should be my 4 orientations for my pins. And then these 4 belts need to mix with these 4 belts before they go in the combinator. So if we take our combinator out of the way now, each one of these belts pairs with a pin belt, I believe. So if we just cut this, and I'm still trying to go with the smallest form factor possible, but usually I'll probably get that wrong the first time around, but that's okay, guys. We're learning as we go. So we'll leave a little bit of space. It doesn't need to be super, super compact. Oh, wait, we can run cables through other things now. Nope, not like that. I think I need this to go like up one more time. Let's try this new feature of being able to run cables through this. So this is the first one. It pairs with this one. This second one needs to go over and through. Oh my God, this is not working the way I want. Let me just run, let me test this. Let me run these belts up and over. Then we will belt this over, and then if we just go straight through without pressing anything, it will just know. It just knows. Excellent, look at that. So this second belt needs to go with that belt. This third belt needs to go with this belt. I think these are the shapes. I wish the shapes came through a little bit faster so I can visually see them. I think they are coming through now. Oh, that's a bit confused. So when you get to the end of a belt, it doesn't know whether to join to that belt or whether to hop that belt. So you got to make sure you be super obvious with this thing to hop the different belts. So these are going to be our 4 pins mixed with our 4 things. So when this comes through, will it tell me? I can barely see. So that's top right, bottom left, bottom right. And that should merge with top left, top right, bottom left, bottom right. And I can't even see these shapes coming through. Let's see if these are even making the stars we need now. So where is this coming out? It is coming out here. It's all jammed up. I think it is trying to pick the stars. Yeah, stars are definitely coming out, but it's jammed up because there's nowhere for everything to go. I need to flush everything. Oh man. So let's just put bins on the end of that. Efficient MAM design, guys. Efficient MAM design. You can see everything takes 10 times longer to troubleshoot. Well, I don't need bins on the end of these pins because they're static. But while it's doing that, it's fine. We'll just assume the correct shape is coming through. Now, each part needs to pick. Can I copy the shape code? Nope, that's not the shape code. That's the copy and paste code of my clipboard. All right, let's copy the shape code of what we're trying to make, which is in this signal, so that I can have a reference on my screen. That's like that. And we will try to make this shape. So the top right and the top left. So these two are not pins. So when it selects a shape between this and this, then we need a platform of some sort to distinguish this. So let's uncork this because I think this is giving me the correct shape anyway. We're going to need some sort of logic circuit to decide whether I'm a pin or I'm a shape. That shouldn't be hard. I don't anticipate that to be hard, but this game loves to prove me wrong. So let's try and find out. So we need our circuitry network because that tells us what this is. So I believe we can just use, maybe we should do this on one of the pinned layers. So like say top right, top left, bottom right. Let's do the pin layer because I think what it's going to do is check, is this a pin? If pin, then take the pin belt. If not, then take the other belt, something like that. We'll figure it out as we go, as we always do. Great, so we got a pin. So we're going to see, is this a pin? Probably need to rotate it back to the correct layering. Okay, that's the bottom left pin. Let's collapse this a little bit. Cool, so it's going to check this signal is containing the signal of a bottom left pin, which is the bottom left of our shape. And we're going to go, is that this? And that should contain a bottom left pin. What is going on here? Let me just check these belts. The first one's going with the first one. The second one is not going with the second one. I think when I tried to belt this, it got super confused. Let me just fix that up. And then the third one's going with the third one. The fourth one's going with the fourth one. Great. What are we doing? We got the pins coming in here, which will slowly come. And then this belt, it's either going to be these 4 or these 4, right? So let's just try with one, and then we'll expand it to handle all 4 belts. So it's either going to pick this belt or it's going to pick this belt. How do we do that? It's got to be a belt filter, right? So either this shape will be correct or this shape will be correct. So in theory, do I not just... Oh man, if it's uncolored, does it also... I'll think about it. It should just be some sort of not signal over the entire signal, right? Let's just do the pins first. We need a belt filter of some sort. So let's put a belt filter in and it will just proceed straight if it's correct and then block if it's not, right? So if we signal that in, it should now proceed straight because it is a pin. So we'll leave that flowing into a bin. And then it needs to block this shape, which is, there's nothing coming out. So if it's not a pin, wait a minute. Do I need logic circuitry? Because it's either a shape or a pin. Yeah, I do need logic circuitry because while this is a pin and therefore not a shape, I can't just merge these two belts because in the case where there is a shape, then it needs to do this logic to go not a shape. Do I need this logic? It makes it super obvious to be like, oh, let's just merge these two space belts because if it's a pin, it can't be a shape and therefore the belt should be empty, right? Anywhere where there's an empty belt, it should just take the pin. But that's not true either because it could be not a pin or a shape and just be completely empty as well, right? So I think we do need some sort of logic circuitry. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, as you guys always do. I always appreciate that. This MAM design, I think, is as much a work of my commenters as it is my work because you guys have heavily influenced the way I've built this thing. So anyway, without further prattling on, we need to check whether this shape is this belt filter needs to do something similar, right? And this will be tested with the other one. So let's do that and let's bring the signal across. So this one will let the shape through and then now these two can just merge, can they not? Like that. And that needs to happen for all of these. I believe the theory still applies either way. It needs to pick one of these two or neither of these two. So I think this works, but we have to like check. And this is not the top right, this is the bottom left before I confuse myself. And we need to leave enough room over here for more turnings, because there could be more turnings happening. Up to 3 turnings, and then one, we'll even this out. How about that? Because there could be like, it's either 2 turns, 2 turns. I think that makes more sense. 2 turns, 2 turns, or 3 turns, 1 turn, 1 turn, 3 turns. That's the combination that it can be. So this is the bottom left, and it is going, I am a pin, I want to pin shapes. Now I need to design this such that it works for 4 belts. So let's just move this out of the way. We've got an entire platform to work with, so I don't foresee any issues. I'm going to do a good belt design for selecting this stuff. I believe I just did this last time, right? We jumped the input and we jumped the output. Or we can just jump the output, right? And we can just weave the input directly into the belt filter. Something like this, you guys reckon? Oh. So if we input directly into the belt filter, that should be fine. We need to leave a gap for the signal cable. Then we can bring in the wire like this and this. We can do something similar to what we did with the other one where we flip some of these, because it doesn't matter if they're flipped, right? I'm just trying to see which one flips to make it most sense making. I believe it's that one. No, wait. That's fine, right? Because there's no side output. It's just a filter. It's either going to go into it or not. I believe. I don't know. Let's try it out. No harm in trying things, guys. So if we do something like this, and then just copy that and then flip it, then that should give me a cleaner build of this, right? Every incremental improvement we can make. Great. So that's the signal in, and then it'll filter and it'll hop. And these 4 are 4 separate belts. So that'll be 4 separate belts out. And then it'll merge with 4 separate belts from here somehow. We'll just leave it like that for now. And theory dictates the exact same should apply on this side. Then these 2 belts merge into one. Then these 2 belts merge into one. So I need some sort of hopping mechanism to do this. Or if I just hop the output, then I can move this up maybe 1. I'm trying to find a good pattern here for this, guys. Or maybe we should line this. Oh, where's the output going to go? It's either going to go one or the other. Can this happen on... Why do I need a 2x2? Let me think. Can this happen on a smaller platform? Definitely a 2x1 will be fine. Let's put this on a 2x1. Can it happen? Can this just happen on a 1x1? I can route in signal from either end, and then it can just come out the other end. But then my thing will need to be redesigned. I need to give it a bit of space and they go in. That's also fine. So if my inputs came in from this side and this side, I think that's a better design. Let's try to fit this all into a 1x1. Because there's not much logic happening here, right? Maybe a couple of jumps and stuff. Is there enough room for jumps? Not really, because I definitely need a jump. All right, not a 1x1, not a 1x1. It's too complicated. It's definitely doable on a 1x1. Don't get me wrong. It's just why do I want to do it on a 1x1 here? It's gonna waste too much time, and I don't want to waste your time, guys. So let me get that in. Let me get that in, and then we just need the output of this to wire into one of these. So this one. It doesn't matter which one combines with which one, not really. I can combine this one with this one, for example, and get that out. And then I can combine this one with, say, the next one, which is like here, and get that out, like that. And then I can combine the next one, or the last one might be a bit tricky, guys. There and there. We might have to do these at the same time. So one needs to combine with this one and go out. One has to, some of these are gonna have to go backwards then. These two combine. This third one should be fine. Now the third one can go backwards and the fourth one can combine. I don't think it matters which belt I mix with which belt, so that's perfectly fine. So we can do something like that, and then this one can just go backwards. It's not ideal, but it works. We can just go here and then come and combine with this, and that can go out. I believe that works, so let's just test it. I need this to go somewhere too. So this fits nicely in the middle here, I'm sure. Let's paste it component by component. So we definitely need these to get the signal out. And is this the minimum? I need up to 3 here, up to 3 here. So let's just collapse this by 1 tile. So 3 fits here, 3 fits here, and then my signal can start. I will get a wire. Oh, I don't have a space for the monitor. Maybe I do. Maybe I do. I can't route it out here because these could be stuff. Has to use this and then go over and down. Oh, we can do that. We can use the wire hopper. Why not? Wire transmitter. They gave us these tools for a reason, and it's for us to use. We shouldn't limit ourselves. Wire hopper and back there. That's a nice clean way to do that. And then we can put that here, and this can be our bottom. Well, it is our bottom left. That gets, we can get rid of that, and we can test this now to see if it works. We can chuck a bin down over on the other side, and we can see that should flow through if I get the signal going into all the belts. Leave that on for a while to test, and we'll chuck it on all the platforms to make sure they all work. So obviously it works on here. Let's try on this platform where there's an actual shape. So now this should let my shape through. Obviously it's not going to because I'm not nodding the signal, right? It's checking, is the shape a pin? Wait, no, that's the bottom left, sorry. Let's chuck that in, and 1 is this. This is the top left, so I just need 1 rotation. And then I need 3 rotations on the out. Oh, nope, see, this doesn't work. It's fine, we can route it differently. We can route it down this way and then hop like that. Oh, now the signal analyzer doesn't like that, so we can cut that, Shift F. Nope, F. We get the signal analyzer going upwards and not have the wire conflicting with itself. And then we can do that. I think that's right. This thing is not facing the right direction. That means these are not facing the right direction. And I believe that is now right. So it's letting the shape through, great, because this side is a shape and not a pin. So I think that works. I'm not sure how this is going to interact with colored shapes. Is this going to go, this is an uncolored shape, and if I try to check whether that's a colored shape, then it's just not going to work? I think I need to eventually convert this signal into, is this a pin or not a pin? Because I don't want to have to like do some signal magic here and like virtually paint this with the correct paint color and stuff like that, right? Yeah, I don't think so. We'll have to test on a colored shape, but this is the concept. This is the base concept. We'll have to iron out the kinks, iron out the bugs as we go. But essentially, this is now giving us shapes. That's giving us pins. And if we copy this logic over, let me replace this back with this. And then we will we'll figure out how to combine all that. So let's get that. We'll let that run through the bin so we can see what the heck is going on. So this is the unrotated shape, which means it doesn't need any of these and just needs wiring. Then we can change this to the top right. We can go on this one, and this will be the top left with 1 rotation. Then this will be the bottom left, which is already done, and that should be 2 rotations. So if we get a copy of the rotator and a copy of the wire, oops. All right, cool. That's the bottom left, and this is the last one, which is the bottom right. Then we should be able to put 3 of these here and remove 2 of these and replace that with wiring. Great. And that's a pin, so it's letting the pins through. So now I'm going to let that run for a while and see if that is the correct 4 shapes. Why do I need to let it run for a while when I can just combine them now? I don't is the answer. So I put my combinator back down here and we'll uncork these. We can put these into our combinator any which way. I don't think it matters anymore because our combinator is direction agnostic. I believe that's a term for it if I sound stupid. Great, and that can go into our, well, it can go into the vortex, but at the moment it's not even the right shape, so why don't we just put it into a bin instead of running all that cable and backing it all up. Cool, we're gonna let that run for a while and we're gonna see if it ends up getting our shape that we want. I am seeing positive signs because we do have pins on the bottom layer of the shape, and remember this is the bottom half of the shape, and you can see there's 2 layers of pins coming through. Why they've kind of stopped a bit is beyond me. Oh, right. Oh, I'm silly. I've forgotten a vital step again. This is dealing with one layer. We need to triple all this up. Excellent. All right, that's fine. That's not too hard. Let's triple all this up. I always forget something, but you guys should be used to that by now. So let's get rid of this, get rid of this, get rid of all the extra cable signal work on here and all the extra cable work. We don't need it. We can just bring the signal up directly like this. Nope, we do need that part. We don't need that, we don't need that, we don't need that. And then we go into the second layer and we do the same thing. We don't need any of this cabling nonsense. We don't need a signal checker. We need that, and that should be that. So we need to bring the signal from the bottom up to the second level, and we need to bring the signal from the bottom up to the third level and connect all of that. And now that should work for 3-layered shapes. Oh man, I'm gonna have to copy all this over again. Damn it. All right, never mind. Time lapse time. See you guys in a bit. Excellent. I think I've done that. There'll probably be more bugs, but that's fine. We fix everything as we go. There's no point getting frustrated or anything. So I think that's giving us something that we want, right? Let's have a look at our bin. What is that giving us? Look at that. Look at that. That beauty. And is that the shape we want? Yes, it is. Oh, I can't select the damn shape that I want. But yes, trust me, that is the shape that we want. It is this shape with the 2 pins. Our MAM can now add pins. Yay. Is this the most efficient way to do it? I don't know. Let me sleep on it and I'll let you know tomorrow. The last thing that we might just want to do is bring this down a little bit so that our belts have less travel time. We always want to give our MAM the minimum amount of travel time, which looks something like that, I believe. I don't think I can shorten any of this anymore. It's going straight out through our pinning logic circuit and then going through there. I think that will be the end of this episode. I will separate pinning and crystallizing into 2 separate episodes. So definitely, now that we've got our pin shape, next milestone is, well, not this milestone, but this milestone deals with crystals. So we will figure out how crystals work, how all their fragile shattering mechanic works, and we will figure out when and where to add in the crystallization process into our MAM. But here it is, guys, our MAM. We're going to save the blueprint for this stage over here. Do I want all 4 saved into my blueprint? Probably, because they're all customized, right? So maybe I can save it, or I don't know. We save it with the entire belt of pins. Yeah, that makes more sense, right? We'll save it with the belt of pins and we will call that pin press stage. Wait, it's not a dynamic pin press. Pin or bypass? Question mark? I don't know what to call this. I need to mull on this for a bit. Dynamic, I'm gonna say dynamic pin presser. Selective pin adder? I don't know. What do you guys think? We'll call this, we'll chuck this in the MAM series. I'll decide on a name later. I might go with selective pin adder. Whatever I end up with, you'll see it as the title of the video. You know how this all works. All right, we'll save that in the MAM series, and I think we are done. If I've done any bugs, just let me know. I'll let it run for a while to see. I mean, so yeah, I believe it is definitely working. We did test it before, right? We did test it, yeah. We'll assume it's still working. All I've done is shift it down a little bit. Here's our MAM, guys. It can now take in all the shapes, take in all the colors, selectively color shape it, and then dynamically output that. Actually, before I sign off, you know, this is silly. Before I sign off, we do need to test this with a colored shape. There's no way I can leave this uncolored, because I honestly just think this logic circuit we built, it just so happens that our shape filter, right, is currently uncolored. That's why it's going, where is my shape color part? It's basically going, is this uncolored shape this uncolored shape? Yes, then let it through. But this is not always going to be an uncolored shape. This could be like a blue one, right? And this will always be an uncolored shape because it's just coming out of the signal analyzer. The color comes out somewhere else. So I think I definitely need to fix that before I sign off the episode, because if I don't fix that, you guys are going to instantly pick that up in the comments, and then I don't want to split the logic for this into 2 different episodes and do a bug fixing at the start of the next one. So let's get that fixed. How do we fix that? We will need to do a test shape. So we need to change this. We need the color of this to be, so P is pin, SU, uncolored is the color. So let's make this green. Let's make that blue. We'll leave one green and we'll leave one uncolored just to show. And let's also, while we're at it, oh no, I just Control Z something. I don't know what I did. What have I done? What have I done, guys? All right, so there, we got a pin SU, and then we need this to be, say, like blue, and we'll make this one a blank. We'll make this S yellow. No, we'll make this S uncolored, and we'll take one of the pins and we'll make the pin blank. That should give us, there we go. Now we've got a section with nothing, a colored shape, an uncolored shape, and a pin. Let's see if my MAM can make that. We'll be right back while it flushes itself out, and then we'll start troubleshooting and seeing how we can edit the logic circuit in here to make that work. Hey guys, I'm back, and yeah, definitely our logic circuit does not work because as you can see, when there's a shape, it's not, if it's the wrong shape, it's jamming the entire system. It doesn't know to dispose of these shapes that are wrong. It needs to keep going. It just needs to go either it's a pin or not a pin. So we've got to edit this circuit somehow to get that done. Let me test it on this. So at the moment, this shape is a star, and I don't care that it doesn't match this shape. It's not a pin, so I want this to flow, right? So we basically need this circuit when it comes out to, before it goes into these wires, it needs to check, am I a shape or a pin? So let me do it on the pin section, which is my pin section. It's the bottom left. So if I go to my bottom left and I go here and I hide the layers, this is a pin. So before it feeds into here, it needs to just be a yes or no signal, right? Because a 1 or a 0 basically. So we're going to need some sort of equal comparator. So we're going to go equals, is this signal, and I need space to do this. Oh man, I'm running out of space. Is this signal equal to pin? Maybe then I don't need these rotations because the shape analyzer will all pre-rotate it and it'll always tell me if it's a pin. So I just need that'll make the equalization logic a little bit easier. If I just go, is this shape now a pin in the top right? Doesn't matter whether it's top left or not, because I don't want to add more areas where I need to customize stuff, right? So I need a shape that is, let me see if I can get the shape code exact. So that will be top right is going to be a pin dash, then dash 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 dash. I think that's a singular pin. Yeah, look at that. I got it. So is this a singular pin? And then it's going to output yes or no. So if it's a yes, then I want it to go there. And then if it's a no, I want it to go there. So I want it to do something like this through a NOT gate. Because these will now invert. It will either let this one through or this one through, but it will always be letting something through. A NOT gate. And I think I might need some sort of bypassing system as well, because when the shape changes, something weird might happen and it might jam the system if it changes from pin to not pin or something. I don't know. I can't anticipate these issues before it happens, unfortunately. So we're going to just have to do this on the fly. So I don't need any of this circuitry anymore. So we'll just get rid of that, and then we'll just copy this bottom part up. So this is a pin, so it's letting the pin through, but everything's jammed right now because this thing isn't working, but that's fine. Let's see if I can fix this, and then we will go from there. I'll redo this again, guys. I'll probably time lapse this. Alright, I believe that's working, guys. I need to copy this onto the colored one. Which one's trying to do the colored shape? I think it's this one, to see if it does flush the old shape out now. So this side is definitely not a pin. So then, wait, so this is the bottom top left, so it only needs one rotation. We can test on this. Yes, now it's flushing the shape out because it's like that shape is not a pin. So it's flushing that shape out and allowing something to go through. I believe that's okay. I believe that's okay. So that's top left. Be right back while I fix all the other platforms. Alright, this bottom right one is also going to be interesting because it's null. So it's null, it's letting this through, it's green, right? But there's nothing here, that's fine, it's blocking the pins. That's perfectly fine, and that's blank. And this will figure out that it's blank and it should bypass this shape, I believe. Yep, we are getting shape here, we are getting shape here, we are getting shape here. Excellent. What is jammed? Let's figure it out. Something is jammed here. Why? Nothing should ever be jammed. I don't think it's jammed. I think it's just waiting for the corresponding shape to come through, I believe, because there's nothing coming through onto this shape. No, it is coming. It's just slow. It just had nothing to merge with before, so it's jammed. I don't think it's actually jammed. So we'll let that run for a bit and we'll see. Alright guys, I believe that has fully unjammed itself now and it is working for now. Does that mean it's totally bug free? Absolutely not. I believe when we see the shape switch from one shape to another, there might be certain edge cases we haven't accounted for yet, but this is working for the case that I am testing. But that's fine. That's how you iterate and improve your designs. I will address one thing before I sign off this episode, I guess. You guys have mentioned a really cool idea, which is a flushing platform, right? So we'll build something that does that at some point, because I do think that's useful to sort of speed up our MAM, which is basically a platform that just checks what's coming through against what shape you want, and if it's not that, it should just bin that for a while until the new shape that you do want is actually coming through. I don't know how helpful that will be for many parts of the MAM, because most of the time, as long as your belts aren't clogged, it should just flow through with the wrong shape, which is fine. Flowing through to the vortex with the wrong shape and flowing it out into the bin and creating an empty belt is exactly the same thing. The only time it's not the same case is during this combinator phase, because you can see there's three belts. Let me highlight them. There's 3 belts over here, right? Let me go up onto the 3rd floor. See how there's 3 belts that are all merging onto one belt? But the way this combinator works is either it's going to bypass the shape or it's going to merge the shape, right? So when it's merging the shape, that creates one full belt. When it's bypassing the shape, in theory, one of these 2 belts should be empty. Yeah, one of these 2 belts should be empty, and then it should be one single belt coming onto here. So there shouldn't be throughput issues unless you are switching from a shape that requires merging to a shape that doesn't require merging. Then instantly in the moment that shape changes, both of these belts will bypass at the same time, giving you 2 belts feeding into a single belt and then clogging up your MAM until that cleans out. So it would probably be a good idea before this platform to build some sort of flushing device in here to flush out any incorrect shapes, so it removes that clog. Everywhere else, I'm not really picturing where it would possibly clog up, because every belt is just running at 100% all the time. So this is the only place where I've got a scenario where there could potentially be 2 full belts feeding into a single full belt. There's nowhere else that happens. So at some point I will definitely design that flushing mechanism. So stay tuned. But other than that, I think that is the end of that episode. I will probably save this again because this is the new design. All these blueprints will be available for you to download for free on the Google Drive link in the description. You guys can download it, play around with it, do whatever you like. I need to save as MAM design, MAM series, and what the heck did I call this? Dynamic shape selector, selective pin adder. There we go. Alright, so this will all be available on Google Drive. Please feel free to download it, play around with it, find any bugs that I've done, you know, make it your own, add on to it, reorder the operations, do whatever you like, guys. This is all, there's no right or wrong in this game. You know, there's more efficient and less efficient. That's about it. We're going for a functional design, and at the end of it all, we will probably do an optimization episode where we might reorder all of the operations to like optimize input or something like that. A little bit of a pathway for going forward, what we plan to do. So next episode probably will deal with crystallizing. We're going to try to make this shape over here and figure out the crystal making process. Then we will probably, that's pretty much the end of making one layer, right? So naturally after that, we're going to have to make 4 of these. But as you can imagine, once you times 4 your MAM section, you're going to need a times 4 your input, which means here there's 28 belts of color coming in and there's 4 belts of shapes, and we're going to need 4 times that much. These space belts aren't going to cut it anymore. I can't just pipe everything in directly from everywhere on the map to do 4 times this volume, right? I'm going to have to create some sort of train input system. So after we finish the crystallization process, we will probably do an episode where I do trains and figure out some sort of efficient enough train network system that I can import all the color and all the shapes that I need for 4 times this platform maker, single layer shape maker. Then we can spend the last episode making those 4 sections of the MAM. I think that might be combined with the train episode, and then maybe the episode after that we can combine those 4 layers into a single layer shape, and then we shall be done. I think I don't know, guys, I don't know. We will see. I'm sure the MAM will throw many challenges at us, and we will tackle all of those challenges together, one step at a time. But yeah, that's all for this episode, guys. Thank you so much for watching. If you've enjoyed this content, you can support my channel by leaving a like and subscribe. Other than that, I will see you guys all next episode.